I would like to say that when you take under consideration the long-term maintenance and storage of nuclear waste and the overall cost of the devastation of a core meltdown, that you in fact cannot make the numbers look good anymore. The fact of the matter is that, as we'll discuss here, Chernobyl is a wilderness and cannot be inhabited, and I'd like to talk a little bit today about the current situation in Japan involving the nuclear generating plants. We have one segment of our population that is trying to make this look like no big deal. And, I think that is a great error. For years now, we've been having this discussion about the practicality and the safety of nuclear power plants. There are those people like myself and others who have said that it's very dangerous and very risky, and in fact could cause problems that would greatly damage our health and our environment and our planet at a cost that we cannot afford. There are those of opposing opinions who have, for whatever personal reasons, profit, political motivations, or personal aggrandizement, have stated that nuclear power is safe, can be used safely, and is cost efficient. Now, if you listen to Mr. Lair, he's saying that according to what he understands, a meltdown is no big deal. Well, I tell you that is a really big lie. A meltdown occurs when a severe failure of nuclear power plant cooling system prevents proper cooling of the nuclear core, to the extent that the nuclear fuel assemblies overheat and melt, either partially or completely. So what we see here is that there's a so-called nuclear expert, Mr. Lair, being interviewed by Sean Hannity on Fox News. And they're telling us not to worry. This is despite the fact that 25 years after the meltdown, Chernobyl is a ghost town and the surrounding countryside is damaged beyond repair and uninhabited. And it will be uninhabited, as I said, for a few hundred years. And he asks the question, but the fear here is the release of radiation, is it not? Mr. Lair, it is, but we have a containment structure that is not likely to release the radiation. And if it did release the radiation, most of the radiation particles have a very short half-life. Now, what did I just say? The containment structure in one of the Japanese reactors at Daiichi was demolished by a hydrogen explosion, and the core is exposed to the air. The Daiichi plant was designed to withstand an 8.2 on the Richter scale force earthquake. The fault, which was nearby, was a small fault which was not predicted to have an earthquake above, say a 5 or maybe even a 6. So the seismologists and the geologists and the scientists who analyzed this information obviously underestimated the power of that relatively small subduction zone, which generated this earthquake, which turns out to be a 9 on the Richter scale. You can also see that there's no such thing as a safe design for a nuclear plant in a earthquake zone. and that even someplace like Japan, where they are extremely careful about all of their seismic designs, that even they got it terribly wrong. And today they're suffering partial and possibly complete core meltdowns in multiple nuclear generating plants because they underestimated the consequences of what has now occurred.